Well, thank you guys for coming to talk. I feel like I've talked a lot lately, and I apologize if you've heard me multiple times. So hopefully I'll give you some new insights on different things. I am going to use my notes from time to time just so I say it right, because I'm a little sleepy because I get home so early after last night's back to school night. So bear with me if I have to resort to that. So I am the science teacher. If you have a middle school student, I am their full-time science teacher. If you have a lower school student, I am just their specialist teacher. They're getting science in their normal classroom, but they're also coming to the lab once or twice a year to actually get more hands-on kind of lab experiences. So in talking about STEM, STEM has kind of always been a part of Saklan. It was just something that in the past year we looked at and was really something we thought we could enhance for our students, and so it really was wonderful. We've always been kind of teaching core science concepts, kind of making sure our students get the basics. It's kind of spiraled up, so they'll kind of be hitting and engaging as they go throughout their curriculum and kind of building on what they already know. We've been using technology in the classroom and materials that we have, and so kind of letting the students kind of learn how to be scientists using the materials that we have, allowing them to kind of grow in their knowledge of science. Additionally, I think you guys know, I've seen a lot of, especially first graders, they engineer different projects within their own classrooms. In the science lab, they build things, and I know other classrooms do too. So engineering is kind of something that is kind of integrated throughout as well. And then there's always the math component the kids don't like to acknowledge, but it is something that is very much a part of our Saklan curriculum. Not only do the students have to work equations in physics class, not only do they have to plot and graph things, but then we also look at data and we actually have to make inferences and we can make hypotheses and things like that from them. So it allows the students to really understand how math is really integral to that whole process. But this was something we thought we could really kind of enhance this year. And so I was lucky enough to have the Fun and Need be all about this STEM program and try to figure out how to make that better. So one of the major enhancements was actually to the lab itself. If you look on the left side, you can see the past classroom where I had half the students facing the back of the classroom while I taught, which was not ideal. When the kids needed to take notes, they'd have to turn and write on their laps. And this was a big source of kind of like frustration. Any of those kids who got assigned in those seats were always like, oh, I have to sit there. They didn't love it. I ended up teaching by the window a lot, just so every kid could write on the tables. And so this actually was something that was, when they said, I was like, I know what I want. I was like, I want every kid to look at the front of the room. And so it was like, and that was hard because trying to find tables that actually worked in the room was kind of difficult, but we luckily, Mr. Javier dealt with all my really nitpickiness and like made it happen, so it was good. Additionally, if you saw the lab before, there were sinks in the middle of the tables and there were gas outlets. Not that is wonderful, but every time the kids turn on the water, I don't know if they do this at home, but they turn it like full blast right away, and the water hits the bottom of the sink and then was splash all over their stuff. And so we're constantly cleaning the counters that the kids had to work on, and then we also had the added fun that, you know, kids are fidgety and then would be turning the gas outlets all the time. I'm like, stop! No! Dear God! And so I was constantly like trying to make sure that that wasn't occurring. So luckily all those got moved to the side of the wall. They're out of the ease of the children. And so it actually makes teaching in my lab a little bit less stressful. At least it has been this year, so it's been wonderful. And it's actually like kind of, I think in their sense too, has allowed them to kind of free their hands up to getting back on task, which is nice for me. I also was given a demo table, and I'm sorry you can't see in this photo, but I actually have a demo table, and I've been able to actually like show materials, like how you're going to pour things, and how to actually set up stuff, which has been really nice. Trying to do it by the window was a little bit harder. Had to kind of keep moving side to side. This, I'm actually in the front. Everyone can see me. It's very nice to do that. I also got new flooring, so everything looks beautiful. I got brand new ceiling tiles. They fixed my lights so they don't go crazy. So anyway, it's just a beautiful room to be in. It's really white though when you walk in. It's like kind of blinding, but it's really, really wonderful, and it's kind of like pulled the whole room together. It's added excitement to science, which I'm loving, and so it's actually been really, really great. Additionally to that, there were major enhancements actually done to the science program as well. So into the curriculum, into materials we bought, etc. So with that, we kind of focused on a few different areas for this. The first one was going to be technology. And so we wanted to kind of make sure that our kids had that academic edge that we talk about. We want to give them exposure to a lot of things. So technology was one of those things we knew we kind of needed to update. And so a passion of mine, but also of a lot of students, comes with robotics. And so we now have intro to robotics and programming in first grade, and then in fourth grade as well. So it kind of circles back and builds. Additionally, we have new microscopes that a lot of kids are going to get to use, the digital microscopes, allowing them to actually see. I can actually see and make sure they're looking at the things I want them to look at. I was telling the 7th grade parents I had a lot of eyelashes. They were like, oh my God, there's a spider like on the microscope. Like, oh, you're not close enough. Okay, so it's nice to actually be able to show them what they're supposed to be looking at. So this gives me kind of the tools to do that. Also gives the kids access to like using these types of materials. It kind of gives them that edge as well that they've had that experience. Additionally, additional invention kits were added to the 4th grade. They learn all about circuitry, electromagnetism. What can you do with them? So these gizmos and gadgets kits kind of allow them to do that. And then also in the middle school, then we can progress and use 3D printing. And so the 3D printer was bought. It is a dual color printer, and so they just like all want fidget spinners, and I'm not. And they're like, you should create 3D print your own Legos. I'm like, it would cost so much money. So realistically, we'll get there, but you will hopefully see in middle school some things will be created at home. So this has been a lot of fun. It's really good for them to see too, and it's nice for the younger kids. They're like, when do we get to use that? They're like excited to go to the next grade just to get to use those materials. So I'm glad I was like, we should use the 3D printer in every grade. I'm like, no, I need to rethink that. So it's kind of like, it's good for me to like really like put those out there, and the kids, it builds excitement from year to year. So it's been good. The other aspect we went into was into the engineering realm, because this is something, I don't know if your kids do this at home, but they like build things, they destroy things, they do all that in school. So we wanted to give them more opportunities to do that, but with like the scientific knowledge behind it. So definitely more was kind of put into that. The one great thing about our kids is they do love to build, and so the Lego wall was something I really felt was necessary. One, it just inspires ideas, it builds collaboration. I cannot get the middle school kids off it. I thought it was going to be a lower school thing, but I've got like boys in there building cars. I have 8th grade girls in there right now, like building flowers and towers and all kinds of stuff. So it is amazing how it's kind of brought kids together. The 3rd grade loves it. I actually had, is Mel in here? Yes. So Mel's daughter actually made a replica of the science lab using Lego. Wow. My tape, my aquarium, it has my windows, and everything. Like, it really inspired a lot. So I was so excited to see it. I was like, oh my God. So the Legos really pull it out. So it was good. And so it was really funny because, and I was telling Mel when she came in the morning, all the middle schoolers were around, and Saul was with her, and he's like, Sadie, she's like, Dad, like the whole time trying to like get him to go away. So cute, but she was so proud of what she was doing. So it was really, really wonderful. And it's good to see them so excited about the work that they're doing. So that's kind of fun. We bought a lot of new kind of like experimental kits for the kids to use at all different grade levels so that they could actually do different things. Just updating the materials. I really felt like that was really important to give our kids kind of the edge. So a lot of kits were built not just for the lab, but for the classrooms themselves. And then, of course, the gizmos and gadget kits. I haven't gotten to use this with the 4th grade yet, but I'm imagining just knowing that group of kids that I'm going to have really crazy inventions. So I'm really excited to see that come through. So with that, the kids are also spending a lot of time. We do a lot with the scientific method and learning the parts of that. But this is also something that I touch on normally in 6th grade, but now I'm starting to do it more with like every grade. And so learning the design engineering process. And what this actually does for kids is allows them to realize that failure is really good. And so, because sometimes kids have a really hard time if a kid gets it before them, etc. It's very difficult for them. But it's actually really important to fail, because that's when you reflect and you make it better. And if it succeeds the first time, that's probably not the best you can do. And so trying to like get them to go through this process again and again to make the best design process as possible. And so this is really a wonderful thing. And so we actually, I've had the 3rd grade in the lower school in the lab the last few weeks, and I've had the 8th grade in particular doing a lot of these different projects. I feel about 8th grade, it's like a lot of my test subjects right now with a lot of my new materials. I'm like so excited. I'm like, we're going to do another one. And they're like, okay. But I have them in the past week. They were learning about Archimedes. We're in 8th grade, we do chemistry. And so they were learning about matter, and we did a lot on liquids and fluids. And so we were talking about how basically fluids move. And so we did a lot with Archimedes' principle and buoyancy. And so with that, they created hot air balloons. And so they had to design a hot air balloon. They had to then go outside. We had, I was a little worried they were going to burst into flame, but that was a different story. But we had a really, really hot blowgun to fill the hot air. And we went outside, and they had to kind of go over top of it, blow there, try to fill it up. A few times they filled it, maybe didn't get it full enough. then they wanted to come back and try it again, try to get it to work. And we did actually get a few of them to lift off. Unfortunately, it was a super hot day, so trying to get hotter than they're outside was not. But the next day it was forecasted rain, and I was like, we have to do it. And then it didn't rain. So I'm like so confused with this weather right now, but that's okay. But it was really great to see it and their excitement around it. I mean, they were like running after their balloon as it went. It was like amazing. So, you know, this kind of stuff, it inspires them, it keeps them going, and we want that for our kids. We want them to be questioning and excited. We want the excitement around science, or about any subject really, but science, I feel, is very important. So upgrades were, I'm sorry, it's a little blurry. Updates were made per grade. We tried to make sure we hit on everything, and so if you were at the ribbon cutting, they gave out like a sheet that kind of had this on here, but I did want to really emphasize that the outlets in the ECE classrooms did get materials too. They each got a STEM kit to kind of introduce the kids into, and they were given a tablet each, so that we don't want to like totally infuse them with technology and like have that be their focus, but we do want them to kind of like start like with that, you know, like you can learn using technology and things like that. So they were given a tablet to use in them, and they seemed pretty excited about doing that.